Don't you dare, ref. That's he got the ball. Good morning, Tottenham fans around the world, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur. It's your boy Dave, and today we're diving into the lineup that I believe Ange Postecoglou will choose for today's match as Tottenham host high-flying Bournemouth down at N17. With 11 Premier League games remaining, let's try and make the most of what we've got left. Even though there's not much left to play for in the Premier League except pride, I think it's crucial to try and get back to winning ways, because momentum and confidence is going to be key as we head into Thursday night's game against A.F.C. And if we want to overturn that deficit, we really need to put in a strong performance today. I also don't think Postecoglou should rest our key players for Thursday. After all, it didn't work when we tried it against Man City, and after the game he mentioned the importance of cohesion and game time together. So now it's time to stand by those words and field our best team for today within view of playing that team again on Thursday, so that we can build that much needed fluidity to give ourselves the best chance Thursday night. So let's jump into the lineup that I think Postecoglou will go with. Starting in goals, and Vicario's return to the team has been absolutely vital. He's the reason why we're still in the Europa League and have a fighting chance this Thursday night, thanks to a series of crucial saves, and he's one of the few players who can hold his head high coming off that pitch Thursday night, and we're going to need him to step up here again today and deliver another big performance. If we have any hope of getting something out of this game, we will be relying on him to make another series of important saves. At left back, I think Destiny Udogie will be dropped to the bench, with Jed Spence moving over to the left hand side. Now, Jed Spence started on the right hand side midweek and was moved to the left hand side in the second half, where he looked more effective both defensively and going forward. And this isn't the first time we've said this about Jed Spence in recent weeks. Remember, against Ipswich he also done the save, started on the right and moved over to the left hand side. And upon reflection over Jed Spence's season to date, Spence's most impactful performances this season, where he has earned that recognition, has been at left back. Defensively, I think they've been his strongest games, and going forward he has a better understanding with Maddison and Son on that side compared to Destiny Udogie, and it's our most dangerous flank and our best chance to create opportunities. Therefore, I think Ange should stick with this setup for the remainder of the season down the left hand side. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. At right back, it will be Postman Porro who will come back into the side after being on the bench Thursday night. And just like Man City, he's in for another tough afternoon coming up against Semenyo and the overlapping Milos Kerkez. He'll need plenty of support from whoever does play on that right wing to be able to track Kerkez's runs and avoid Porro being isolated in a 2-on-1 situation all game, because we all know how that's going to end. It's going to end in disaster. So whoever plays right wing is going to have to come back and help him out. They're just going to have to sacrifice themselves. But also, I would argue on Thursday we really missed Porro's passing range. We kept trying to pass out from the back, get turned and dribble, and all we done was just turn straight into A.Z. Alkmaar's press, allow them to take the ball off us and come straight back at us. But with one pass, Pedro Porro can bypass that press, and Bournemouth will look to apply a similar press on us again today. So he will be key in helping us transition out from the back and getting that ball moving forward. And going forward, he also creates more chances down that flank than the right winger does. And that's exactly what we need moving forward, especially heading into Thursday night. So for me, get Porro out there, get him down that right wing, get crosses into the box, get bodies flooding in, and with a view of looking to also do that next Thursday. And then that moves me into the centre-back pairing. Now, of course, Romero and Van de Ven were held back against AZ Alkmaar. Postecoglou did say they were training on the pitch the night before. It was in a state, and he didn't exactly fancy risking the likes of Romero and Van de Ven because it was unsteady underneath their feet. But we are led to believe that they are ready to return at any minute. And for me, I don't think Postecoglou can hold back any longer. I think he's got no option but to bring both Romero and Mickey Van de Ven back in. The pressure is on him to start getting results in the Premier League and also Thursday night. Many would argue if he doesn't win Thursday night, he should be sacked. So for me, time is of the essence. I know that Danzo's played very well, and I know that Archie Gray played very well, and some would argue they deserve to start. However, one thing I will say is if you go and look at the amount of goals the amount of shots we're conceding on our goal now compared to at the start of the season when these two were in there, it's almost triple the amount of shots. I do think that has something to say with how effective they help us play that high line, but also how good they are defensively. But also in possession, I think they help us transition that ball out from the back a lot better than maybe what Archie Gray and Danzo do. Don't get me wrong, they can do it, but I just think Romero and Van de Ven do it with much more effect. Especially Van de Ven down that left-hand side. There's no airs and graces about it. It's one touch and often moves that ball very quickly down that left-hand side, which I think would be good for the likes of Spence, Maddison and Son. But with Romero coming in, one thing I have missed is them long balls he used to play over the top for Maddison, who used to run in behind the back line off Dominic Solanke, and that's one thing I want to get back to seeing. So I think Romero, so I'm excited to have Romero back in the team for that. And also, there's no way you can let Romero go away on international duty and Van de Ven over the international break without playing a couple of games for Tottenham Hotspurs. So I do think you're going to see both of them come back into the lineup here. And lastly, on the back line, Bournemouth do lead the way in the Premier League for the most pressures resulting in turnovers in the final third with 300 this season, just above Tottenham, who have 299, which goes to show they are going to look to put pressure on that back line, look to turn that ball over. So we are going to have to be very efficient in terms of how we move that ball out from the back line, not take too many risks or too many touches, because the warning signs are there. Moving into midfield, and we will start with the CDM. Rodrigo Bentancur is not available for Thursday night, so I do think Ange Postecoglou should play whoever he feels like is going to play in that number 6 on Thursday night here today in today's game. And for me, I'm going to go with Papa Matar. And the reason why I think Postecoglou might go with Papa Matar for tonight and Thursday night is he's come in here, he's put his arm around Bissouma, he's given him every opportunity, and Bissouma has let him down at every turn possible. Also, in massive games this season, it's where Bissouma has made his biggest mistakes. And if I'm Postecoglou and my job is on the line Thursday night, I am not putting my fate or my job in Bissouma's hands. And I think if he does, he's playing a very dangerous game by doing that. So for me, I think he's left with no option but either to go with Papa Matar, or could we even see someone like Archie Gray? Is this the time we see him move into the midfield and see what he can offer? Let me know in the comment section below. Lastly, I know Papa Matar has come in for a lot of criticism, which I've been very surprised about recently. However, I don't think he is bad as some people make him out to be. I have seen that he can do every part of the game that you want your midfielder to do. Slide balls in between the full-back and centre-back, I've seen him do it. Play long balls for your wingers or strikers to run in behind, I've seen him do it. Get up, support play and offer a goal threat in and around the box, I've seen him do it. Get around the pitch, turn over ball, I've seen him do it. Now it's just about bringing all them pieces together, and I think we've got one hell of a player on our hands. And lastly, whoever does play in this number 6, whether it's Bentancur, whether it is Archie Gray, whether it is Bissouma, whether it is Papa Matar, they are going to have to keep an eye on Justin Kluivert. Outside Mo Salah, he has the most away goals in the Premier League this season with 10, so he is a threat. They're going to have to stay switched on and try and nullify him. I also think Postecoglou will continue to show faith in Bergvall. Look, the own goal was unfortunate. We've all been there. It's happened to the best of us. It's just about how you move on from that mistake. That's what separates the weak from the chaff for me, in my opinion. The bounce back ability, and I think Bergvall does have that in abundance. He's young. You're going to make mistakes. It happens. It's about moving on from it now. And he has been absolutely sensational for a good, 10 games or so now. He's been absolutely brilliant. So more the same. One thing I would like to see down this right hand side, when he does get that ball moving down the right, Bergvall, and Johnson's on the right hand side, for me it doesn't work. Bergvall's often moving forward with purpose, looking for players to run in behind, and you often see Brennan Johnson bringing a fullback towards Bergvall with him, looking for that ball to feet, and then all Johnson does is look to pass it back. For me, Johnson needs to get on the bike when Bergvall is going forward and look for that ball in behind. And lastly, to complete the midfield, I do think James Maddison will retain his place. Now, I did say heading into the game, I was worried about him bringing that cushion onto the plane. It stinks of me as a player that is back in the comfort zone. I think he's proved his point against Roy Keane doing the big shush. But in fact, Thursday night's performance has only enhanced Roy Keane's point in general, which is stop doing it on a once-off basis when you need to or when you're under pressure. Start showing it consistently. And to be honest with you, although probably not our worst midfielder on the night, Thursday night, he didn't have a good performance whatsoever. And at the end of the day, he can sit on the bench and bitch and moan about Postecoglou and the way he's being asked to play all he wants. At the end of the day, he's the one with the ball at his feet. He's supposed to be the conductor. If you don't want to pass sideways or backwards, don't. Instruct your forward players, tell them where you want them to be, and start moving that ball forward. That's what great players do in that sort of attacking position. But like I said, He does link up very well with Jed Spence and Son down this side. It is a very promising attack down this side. So for me, he has to start for that reason alone. Just hopefully we can get a very good performance out of him here. And moving into the front line, and it has gone completely stale. And this is an area that Postecoglou does need to switch up and try and find the solutions. At home, we have only scored 0.08 goals across all games at home in 2025. Nowhere near good enough. Speaks to how stale this front line has come and that he does need to change it up. Starting with left wing, and I do think Son will retain his place. I would argue if Postecoglou really wants to send out a statement to everybody else around the squad, you drop Son and you make it known you drop Son because of his performance Thursday night. Thursday night was disgraceful from Son. He is your captain. He's the guy that sets the standard and the example for everybody else to follow. And if he shows that he's disinterested as he was Thursday night, then we wonder why everyone else is following suit. And then to sit down on the bench and have that tactical discussion with James Maddison is absolutely disgraceful, in my opinion, from your club captain. At the end of the day, he's just as culpable as Ange Postecoglou is this season. He's the one that's the captain of this team, and it's up to him to get them to fall in line. We need a much better performance from him here. Look, everyone can have an off day, but Son seems to be having more off days right now than what he does on days. Hopefully we can get him back to some of the best performances we've seen from him this season, where we get that ball from Maddison or Spence down that side. They get overlapping, or he goes in the run, and they can put it in behind from him and hopefully get the best out of him. Because I would argue, I don't think that Son-Udogie combination down that left-hand side is quite correct. I don't think they have a great understanding of each other. I think Udogie wants to play one way and Son wants to play another. So I do think having Spence there will get a lot more out of Son. Moving on to right wing, and I think if Postecoglou persists with Brennan Johnson over the next two games, he may very well help and contribute to Postecoglou losing his job. Brennan Johnson is nowhere near good enough. Against Man City, the fact that he survived on the pitch and only turned up with 2 passes after the 75th minute is nowhere near good enough in terms of overall contribution. And the same against Hazy Alkmaar midweek. Done absolutely nothing. But this is where Postecoglou does not help himself. He keeps him on the pitch. And I understand that he's the club's top scorer, and that's maybe why Postecoglou's keep him on the pitch. But the reality is, when you're struggling to create chances of any note, he is the first one that needs to be hauled off. If you're creating chances and missing them, I can understand keeping Brennan Johnson on. But if you're not creating anything, he has to come straight off. What world are we living in where he stays on the pitch longer than Son and James Maddison when you're struggling to create? Not good enough from Ange Postecoglou. Also, how lazy he is out of possession. If Postecoglou continues to allow that to happen, other players are going to start following suit. The minute we're all human beings. The minute you see someone getting away with something and having to put in less effort, it naturally happens to everyone else around you. So for me, I think he'd be very wise to drop Brennan Johnson. And I'm actually going to bring in Mathys Tel here. Now, I've said all along, bringing in Mathys Tel up front to solve Tottenham's problems in terms of scoring goals and keeping us in these competitions and getting us moving forward was never going to be the right answer, because I don't think he is a natural striker. For me, I've always said I think he's better out wide. And I would like to see him actually given that opportunity off the right-hand side to see what he can bring. I know many people would say, look, get Mikey Moore in. I'm okay with that either. One of them two. I just don't want to see Brennan Johnson. And if he plays, Postecoglou is putting himself in a world of trouble. And then lastly, that brings me on to the guy up front. Now, it's just my opinion. I think Dom Solanke will return. Initially, when I looked at that collision, or when I looked at what happened to Dom Solanke, the fact that he went straight to holding his arse to lower arse to the top of his leg, I initially thought, it's a hamstring. No way, you can't make this shit up. But on reflection, looking at it, it was a collision where the keeper did come in with his knee right into his back. And it's very easy to pick up a dead leg or a sore back there and not be able to continue. Are going to feel the effects of that. However, I do think he should be more than ready to come out here and face the Cherries, his former club. And what a return it would be if he could help fire us 2-3 points. So come on, Dom Solanke, let's go. If not Dom Solanke, I do not want to see Mathys Tel up there. He has to go with someone like Dane Scarlett, who is a natural in that position, and I would argue has earned the right to play. But guys, that's my predicted lineup. Please give me yours with your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know if there's anything you agree or disagree with. And I'll see you back here at 11 for the pre-match show. As always, come on, you Spurs.